Hi, it's Charlie giving you Friday's FOMC live trading video. I hope you're very well. So it's FOMC today. It's only 7:29 in the morning at the moment. So do a little bit of a review here early, but I'm not really going to be doing much between now and non-farm payrolls from trading perspective. I am with our swing traders all day today, but I won't be trading ahead of non-farm payrolls. So we'll come back to that later on. Now, looking at this channel here on the euro dollar, we can see that a week ago we got up to the upper trend channel line, and although I'd been long, I did end up putting a hedge in. So for full disclosure, I better show you the account again. So let's show you from. Is it going to take it up? No. Okay, let's drag it up. There we go. So I did put a hedge in. So we've got a couple of shorts in here from. Where was it? Oh, well, it's shown at 116 now. They were actually at 118 or so at the time, but 119. But Saxo Bank like to add any of their charges to the entry price. So anyway, so that's where we're at for now, ahead of non-farm payrolls. Now that's only the hedges is it's only 100,000, whereas the positions long are 400,000. So of course, if the euro wants to roll all the way down and start hitting my stops, wherever my stops are down here, then I'll obviously give back my gains. The stops are trailed up from some of those entries, so they're into profit anyway. But I'll give back those gains, but obviously I'll be making on the short. So that's what I'm up to there. So going into non-farm payrolls today, I'm expecting big figures again. But then last month we were expecting big figures, and this is the day. Now it was Good Friday last non-farm payrolls, so we had a small range day anyway. But the following day, as you can see, it was the beginning of this up leg. So it'd be interesting to see how the market decides to take that positive news from the payroll figures. I'm assuming it's going to be good today. So right now, euro had a good day yesterday, having a little bit of a back off at the moment. But what am I looking for later on? Well, if the euro dollar does start pushing up, I'm going to be looking for it to push up. So that's my preference. I think if it comes down, I'll probably be leaving it alone, but let's just see how that pans out later on today. So but if it pushes up, then I'm going to be wanting to get on board on that, because I'd like to see a breakout of this trend line. Looking at the average true range, the average true range for the week is about 150 pips. Now, so far this week, we've done a range of about 90 pips. So there's about another 60 pips on top of the range that we've had so far this week. The high of the range this week is about 120.76. So if we add 60 pips on top of that, takes us up to 121.36. So somewhere up about where my cursor is right now. And the low of the range is right down here at 119.86 or so. So add 60 pips to the low of that, takes us down to 119.20. So the euro doesn't have to get to its average range. It doesn't have to get to that. But it's worth our while just knowing what the scope is. That if it did have a big move today, what's the scope for it to have to create or to get to that range for the week. So it gives you some ideas there. It's always quite handy to do if you get to, like, by the time you get to Thursday, have a look at the weekly average true range of a market you might be trading and see if it's already hit its range or it's already got very close to it. But if it's undercooked, then there might still be, especially if we've got news coming out like we have today, then certainly there's the scope there for the range to still expand for the week. So useful information there. I'm going to leave you to it, and I'll be back as and when later on, I guess. Back to them. Okay, just back, and it is now 1 p.m. So I've been with the swing traders all morning, and so we're getting closer to non-farm payrolls. Now, what I'm doing at the moment is I'm just getting a couple of tickets ready. I'm not going to be trading on the news as it happens, but what I am doing is, I was saying this morning that I would prefer that obviously the euro comes up. So I'll trade it if it comes up. If the euro just comes down this afternoon, I'm just going to leave it be. I've already got those shorts in that I showed you earlier. So I can't see myself doing anything. We're expecting the jobs report to be strong, so you would think that the dollar should strengthen. Anyway, let's not get in the way of what we think, because markets so often go and do the opposite. But anyway, so what I am doing here is I'm putting a couple of buy stop orders in. I'm not actually putting them in actually yet. 120.91. Now 120.91 is this high up here, and then I'm just going to add a stop loss, which is, I've just been looking at this at 120.20. Okay, so the reason I put them in twice is because that's a half a lot. 50,000 is half a lot, so I'm putting in two half lots. So one lot would be the position once if this happens, and I'm going to explain to you what this scenario is. So I've got these ready. I'm just going to move them off screen because I'm not actually going to implement those orders yet, because I don't want to have those in ahead of non-farm payrolls. So really what I'm going to do is, if the euro spikes down first of all once we have non-farm payrolls, then I'll click, if you can see that, no you can't, bring it up, then I'll click place order on both of these. So I'm just dragging these off the screen at the moment so that they're there. So if we do come down first of all, just because quite often on non-farm payrolls it'll go one way, then might spike the other way, and then I'll just have that order in up there. Now the potential is that it could spike both ways, spike down, then come up, and then come back down again. That is something which is relatively common with non-farm payrolls, and then what you have is you end up with a big spinning top candle at the end of it, where you get a candle that looks a bit like this, where it's been both ways and ends up in the middle on like the hourly chart or the 4-hourly chart. So of course that's a potential, but the euro is an important level again here, just against this trend line again. It's come up a bit this morning and then come back off on the as we're getting closer to the non-farm payrolls. Oh, that's all right. Sorry, I just saw a message come up on Saxo Bank saying they're having some technical issues, and I'm thinking no, but it's all right. It's with Amsterdam's exchange, so it's nothing to do with this. So this is what I'm going to do. If we come down first of all, then I'll place those orders. What if we just go spiking straight up though? I'm talking about the long side because I'm not going to be trading it on the short side. So if we do come up, well, then I'll be looking for it to hold up, and then I'll be looking for maybe a little dip to then get long. So then I'll still get rid of those orders then, because they're buy stop orders to buy on a break of the highs. So if we do go straight up, then I won't be getting in at that point. I'll let it come up just in case it's a spike and then come straight back down. I'll let it come up, and if it holds up there for a bit, then I'll look to enter. That'll be my plan there. So that's the overall plan. It's 3 minutes past 1, and I was going to say 3 minutes past 3 then, and we'll see you at about 1:30. Okay, so we're just coming into the payrolls figures now, so I don't need to do anything just yet. Let's just see how it's going to react to that number. The number's out now, so it's just, you're going to see the big reaction coming. Here it comes. Come on then. Here it goes. So we're getting a little bit up. Interesting. Then we'll probably see it come down. So we've seen it going up at the moment. I don't need to do anything with my orders at the moment, so nothing's needed. Oh my God, they've really underperformed. They come in well under. That can't be right. 266 versus over 1,000 expected, and 266,000 versus 1,000. So way under. So in fact, I'm going to put these in. Oh no, my e-signal's way behind. So hold on. I'm just looking at my charts off screen. My e-signal's gone really slow. So we're already above 121.07. So what I'm going to do is just change these. So it looks like I'm going to be... See, the amount of data coming through has clogged up my e-signal here. So I'm just going to change my tickets, because we're going to be doing some live trading. That's a massive undershoot there. The expectations were for so forget this chart. The price is right up here. It's at 121.15. So it will catch up, no doubt. It will catch up. Now, interestingly, my shorts that I showed you this morning have just been stopped out at break even. So I've just been stopped out on those at break even. So, but eSignal's really, really far behind. So I've just got to wait for that to catch up a little bit. But it just shows you the amount of data, and I'm using lots of software here at the moment as well. So I'm just going to press pause for a minute, and then we'll come back to this because I need to let all this lock in. I'm going to go down to the 5-minute charts, then we'll press play again when we see when I can get in. Right, I'm back, and it's holding up, so I'm going to put these in. So I'm going to put both of these in. I'm still going to have a 70 pip stop, so I've put these in live, and so I'm going to put those, the stop's going to be down there around about, just below this low here, so about 57 because of my entries there. So quickly, I haven't put my stop losses in yet, so I'm just going to get those up. So let's put these entries in, if it's going to let me. There we go. So I say put the entries in. Let's bring everything's running a little bit slow on my computer here, so let's just get, there we are, there's the entries. Let's get the stops in. So 57, stops in at 57, so it might be just a bit over. I haven't even looked at what I got filled at, 27. That is about 70 pips. Perfect. 120.57. Let's see if we can have a blowout here, guys. Let's see if we can have a blowout. 120.57. But of course, this isn't day trading. I'm using the intraday charts here to get in. And what's gone on in the news here? 120.57. So I'm using, so on this account, that's risking £500 on this account. So I'm using this account to, what was my entry? 27 and 28, right. So I'm using this account. You can see my stop outs. There they are. There's the two stop outs. I said break even just with a little bit of whatever. I think the orders were actually at 17 and it was showing an entry of 16, wasn't it? So anyway, yeah, so basic break even there. So I'm using what's going on here on the back of the news to get me into a swing, effectively. Although the stop is only below here, and if I say into a swing, adding to my swing positions. So the stop is very aggressive in that regard, but what I want is for this to stay, this breakout to, once this loads, I want this breakout to hold. So there we go. So I want this breakout to hold. Now, as I said to you this morning, remember we did that average true range. What did I say the highs would be? 121.36. Where has it been? 2 so far, 121.36. Now I'm hoping it's going to breach that weekly range. I'm hoping so, but it doesn't need to. It's done its average range. So my stop is effectively at today's low. Okay, so that's where that stop is. So it's completely different to my other positions, which were already long on the way up here, and then we got long on a pullback here last Friday. So I've now had to pay up, unfortunately, getting in at 29, but I'm looking to run this back up into this zone up here. So the risk to reward is fine, and so but what I want is to see this hold. But that's a really interesting jobs figure there, so we'll see if this holds. And non-farm payrolls, so often market comes up in one direction first of all and then sells back off, but that's a real disappointment. So on that disappointment, I would love to see, take this back down to the hourly chart, what I'd like to see is this to generally hold and potentially go higher. But as I've already said, we have now done our weekly range. Remember the weekly ATR I talked to you about? I said this morning, you're 14 minutes in. I recorded that part of this, 7 hours ago or whatever it was. But we've done the average range on the weekly chart now. It's really just a case of whether this can hold. So if it can hold, it's going to have a little bobble up and down still, and it'll do a pullback, no doubt. But if it can generally hold today, then we might well have that confirmed breakout. Some of the other markets, I want to have a look at the New Zealand dollar because I've been interested in that. I'm assuming that's up as well. Still not breaking out of its trend line yet, but it's got a little bit more work to do there. Let's have a look at the Aussie. That probably is, yes. Let's see how gold has reacted. Oh, oh my word! What a move for gold. I know some of our members are in gold, and then the opposite is true for dollar yen, as I've already said today that I'm in shorts on the dollar yen on my fund. So far all okay. So we can't say too much because it's not over until the fat lady sings, as they say. Shouldn't say that. It's an old expression. Sorry, apologies about that. But so far that is a big undershoot on that payroll report. So and now we've already got the Federal Reserve's Kashkari saying that the payroll report validates the Fed's outcome-based approach. So that's pretty bearish for the dollar. So we want to see this continue going higher. So I've got the positions in. We'll see how we get on as we go through the day. But this is still, I'm not day trading this, so I'm going to be holding on to these two positions here. They're just adding into my overall positions. So I've now got 500,000 or 5 lots in total long. Remember, I had already banked one lot last week when I made that boo-boo. I think I went through that this morning and then had to add back in. But so this is actually, I banked about £1,800 last Friday. So I'm actually sitting with the banked amount at around about, what's 1,800 on top of that? About 9,000 or so. But anyway, in open positions, 7,300 currently. We'll see if this can extend the gains. I'll press pause for now. Okay, just back finally now, and we can see what's going on with the euro. The time is 20 to 5. So let's go and have a quick look at what happened here before I bring up the summary of the account. So we had that nice big up move, then we did this pull back here on the hourly chart, and then we've gone higher. What actually happened was the initial jobless, non-farm payrolls figures came out way under, as you heard me saying earlier on. I've gone off and cut the grass and finished with the guys now and stuff, so I'm just summarising this. And then what happened was this story went around that that those figures were non-adjusted, and the adjusted figures still came in at just around 1 million or so. But I think that 1 million was what the market was expecting anyway, and I think this continuation of the dollar dump is probably partly because they sort of came in as expected, even though the official figures were undercooked. But also the Fed have been talking a lot lately, in this week about them holding off for longer, and their comments on inflation being that they still believe it's transitory. So that's what's helped this dollar go higher. And so whether it's the euro dollar sitting here or the pound dollar or whatever, we've seen some nice breaks. The pound's a little bit lagging overall, but I think that's because of these elections that we've got. So I think once we get into next week, we'll see the true extent of the pound. And as we can see, it's beautiful trendline break here on the Aussie dollar as well. So across the board, the dollar yen sort of held its lows. It's not right down at its lows, whereas the euro's at its highs. But again, in a similar sort of fashion, that's going the opposite way. And then we've got the New Zealand dollar. It's got that breakout as well. So it's lovely to see all these moves. So really, technically, the next stop is up here. Really, we're going to have this high will be the next technical level, I guess, for the euro dollar. But overall, I would expect there will be pullbacks, of course, but technically, if we hold on to this tonight, like I said, it's only 4:45 at the moment, then I see no reason why we don't still go higher. Remember that little trick that I did first thing this morning with regards to looking at the ATRs? It's a nice trick to keep your eye on that sort of stuff. But let's have a look at the account here. So we're now up 8,000, nearly £300. These are the positions I took here this afternoon, and they're just sitting there. Obviously, I'm running those as a swing. Like I said, I wasn't going to be trying to day trade those. So that's where the P&L is. If you can see all this properly, So these were the grayed out was where I got trading stopped on that short that I'd taken with my traders last week. So we got trailed out at basically break even, just a bit of slippage or whatever there. And these are the other positions that I've been holding. So there you go, 8,300 today. I say today, this is stuff I've been holding here on this challenge account, but I'd already banked some, as I'd said earlier on. I'd banked about £1,800 worth, I think, last Friday. So the real figure is, would be over 10, I guess, now in open positions on that account. We'll see how that goes as we go forwards. Anyway, enjoy your weekends, take care, and I'll see you next week for the normal videos. Take care for now.